So the second important thing I want to say about authenticity today is that authenticity is your creative power, which again, isn't the most obvious connection, is it? That your ability to truly create and manifest your reality depends on you being authentic, fully authentic. But let's look at why. If you love some things and are in resistance to other things, I love this, I hate that, I like this, I don't like that. If you're living in that duality, that means the ego still has a hold on your mind, right? The programs are still running you, trying to attach and resist, attach and resist. And so you don't really have the ability to choose your preference yet when you're in attraction aversion in your relationships with things. When the ego keeps you in resistance to anything, you perpetuate that energy in your life, don't you? What you fight, you strengthen. What you resist persists. It's an eternal law. When the ego keeps you in resistance to something, it perpetuates that energy in your life. So you cannot unchoose it so long as you're in resistance to it. Resistance robs you of your free will to choose. So when you fight, hate, resist something, the universe sees that as you asking for more of that negative experience. And again, universe doesn't judge. All experiences are equally valid from the universe's perspective. So the way you ask for negativity is you engage with negativity. You become negative, right? If you fight something, you're in a negative frequency. And the universe says, okay, this being likes negative frequencies because look at them enjoying it. Look at them being negative. They must like it. Let's bring them more of it. And it brings you more reflections of that negative energy. So that's an equally valid choice, right? Universe will let you choose negative all you want. So that's why this is an eternal principle. Chase it and it runs, release it and it comes. When you accept everything and resist nothing, you finally gain your free will back from the ego. You clean the whole universe of your negative attachments and karmic ties. You say, I accept and love everything. So now the universe says, oh, okay, now this being is coming into a higher level of decision making. They accept everything equally without resistance. So now it's just a matter of what their preference is. I don't have to keep bringing them things that they resist anymore. I can just let them choose and be the creator. So until you're in love, until you're obeying the law of one, you don't have creative power in the universe yet. You have very destructive power still. You're creating destruction and entropy in your own life, in the lives of people around you. And so you got to get your free will back from the ego first. So you are continually inviting an energy that's canceling out your preference when you're in resistance to something. And all programs, we talk about the mental programs of the ego today, all of those programs are some form of defense, protection against reality. It's the mind choosing how it wants to avoid certain energies, fight against, hold off other energies, control and manipulate other energies. Every program is a kind of defense mechanism for the ego, again, to protect itself from a reality it secretly fears. So when you live like that, you're going to be canceling out all of the good things you're trying to draw to yourself and create. So you've got to get rid of that part of you that keeps canceling out your manifestations, the programs, right? For example, if you are in resistance to others disapproving of you, which was a big one for me for a very, very long time growing up in church, absolutely desperately needed people to approve of me. If you need people's approval and are afraid of their disapproval, this creates an insatiable appetite for approval. So this neediness for approval will ensure that people will be repelled by you, right? Needing others to validate you all the time is a very unattractive energy. And so people will reject you because they feel your neediness. So if you need the approval of others to feel good about yourself, you'll never get enough of it. It's a well that always runs dry. It's water that always makes you thirsty. But on the other hand, if you don't need the approval of anyone to feel good about yourself, if you already approve of yourself, then you tend to get the approval of others all the time without even trying. Anybody notice that? When I finally don't need anyone to like me, man, it's like everyone loves me. I'm everyone's favorite person because I'm kind, I'm open, I'm unattached. I just want you to be you and I want to serve you and love you. Like, who doesn't love a person like that? For goodness sakes, you'll become everyone's favorite person when you don't need their approval. So chase it and it runs, release it and it comes. So authenticity is that state of full release, full freedom, full surrender, not needing or wanting anything from anybody, but only wanting to be true to yourself, no matter what. The ego's programs are all that prevents us from being true to ourselves, because they keep us caught in these patterns of reactivity, defensiveness, and victimhood. It hides our true essence, right? But the heart, the essence of what we are, doesn't react, it responds. The heart doesn't defend, it depolarizes. The heart doesn't need to protect itself. Hey, you get away from me. The heart shines, and all negative energy that tries to come at the heart gets depolarized into positive energy. The heart just breaks negativity down. You know, when someone's upset at you and you become kind and apologetic, and how can I help? It just lowers the anger, the temperature right away. Oh, I'm so sorry, man. Please forgive me. I didn't mean to do that. How can I help you? How can I make this right? It's impossible to continue to be angry at somebody who's admitting that they were wrong, apologizing, asking how they can be of service. That's the effect of the heart. It doesn't have to defend anything because it depolarizes everything that's not love. It brings everything into coherence with love. It's the strongest energy in the universe. And so the heart also doesn't know victimhood. It just knows empowerment. It just knows how to empower. And so the heart is the only place we find our true power and free will to choose our preference. It's never our will to violate love because it's never our will to lose our peace, right? How many of you want to lose your peace? Show of hands. Anybody want to just drop their peace today? Be disturbed, be afraid? Nobody? You all want to keep your peace? What's wrong with you? Why wouldn't not having peace be better than having peace? These questions are silly, right? It's our nature to want to be at peace. It is always your will to want to be at peace. And so by obeying the law of one, the law of love, we always retain our peace. Therefore, we know that that's our will. Isn't that simple? There's no arguing with this point. Anything else you think you want that violates love, promise you don't want it. Maybe you don't see it right now, but you're going to see it. You're going to see it real soon because you're going to do that thing. You're going to chase that outcome that you think is going to make you happy. And then you're going to feel the consequences of it. And you're going to wish you hadn't and repent and try again. Anything that violates love always creates karma that comes back on you and causes you to suffer. And it's no one's will here to suffer. Instead of be at peace. So when our mind enters coherence with our heart, we can finally be at peace in every moment. We have arrived at heart-based consciousness, which is true authenticity. So again, to build this authenticity, stop and check in with the heart over and over. Every day, as often as you can. Some quick examples. One example of being inauthentic is not telling somebody the truth for fear of hurting their feelings. And this is a catalyst that seems to appear in my life a lot. And so I've learned how to be really mindful about this one because I've spent years and years of my life failing this test of not telling people the truth because I'm afraid to hurt their feelings. But then there's always some kind of consequence. And so I've learned I've got to be able to speak my truth in love, even if they get their feelings hurt. Their feelings being hurt is their ego's business. My heart's business is to speak the truth in love and trust that the truth will always be of benefit to both parties. Even if their ego reacts, gets defensive, gets offended, it doesn't matter. It is going to be for their highest good in the long run for me to speak my truth. So I check in with my heart. Heart, am I supposed to really avoid saying this, or is this something that you need me to say? And you'll feel, I need you to say this to them. Okay. And so you step up to the plate, right? Let's say unloading your frustration on someone, saying, I'm just speaking my truth. I'm sick of you and I can't stand you and you annoy me. spiritual ego will hijack that phrase, I'm speaking my truth, to give itself license to be abusive to others and degrade others. And so how is that inauthentic? Because that's not your truth, that's the ego's truth. That's the program's speaking. So if you're going to say something to somebody and you're like, I got this really strong statement I want to make, and I'm going to make it, but just for 1 second, real quick, let me check in with the heart. All right, heart, I'm going to say this, right? No, that's not based in kindness. That's based in selfishness. You really want to say that? You think that's a loving thing to say? Ah, darn it, you're right. That's not loving. All right, how do I rephrase this in a loving way? And the heart says, speak your truth like this. And it gives you a very kind, honest way that's humble of expressing that truth. Rather than, you annoy the shit out of me, the heart transforms it into, when you become critical of me in that way, I feel like there's a disconnection between us. And I want to keep a connection between us as friends. And so let's find a more loving way to speak to each other. All of a sudden, you still spoke your truth, but from the heart, making it truly your will and your truth. When you let the ego speak, that's not really your truth. Changing who you are or how you express to get someone's approval. We've all done this or felt ourselves do this, right? You really want somebody to like you, and so you notice yourself kind of playing a character, being the chameleon that shapeshifts, right? I think they'll like this version of me better. And so you try to get their approval by being someone else. And at a certain point, you'll notice, yeah, I'm not really being myself around this person. Let me check in with the heart. Heart, why does this shape-shifting pattern always come up around this person? And then the heart shows you, because you see this person as your superior. You believe that they're better than you in some way, and so you need their approval. And so you changed into a different character to get it. And you say, wow, that's very unloving to myself. It's very, very rejecting of myself to do that. I'm going to accept myself and practice being who I am around this person. And that becomes a new spiritual practice. Let's see, giving into your ego without first consulting your heart would be like, denying what you really want in order to appease what somebody else wants for you. And whether it's parents or friends or somebody who's trying to tell you how they think you should live your life, what decisions you should make. And then you start to feel like, this isn't really my choice. I'm being influenced by these people in my life. You realize, oh, it's because I'm letting my ego run the show. My ego wants their approval, and so whatever they tell me to do, I do it. But when I check in with my heart says, this isn't really me. This isn't really what I want to do or who I want to be. So I've got to start being honest about that. So these are the ways we can practice bringing mind-heart coherence, is that we check in with the heart as often as possible and get out of the thinking mind. And maybe you do a few deep breaths, a little meditation. What does my heart say? I promise you guys, if you practice this and you really relax into this practice, all right, what does my heart say? You get still for a moment and you feel rather than think. Boom, the answers are going to come. This is like a free telephone where you can consult with God at any time. Just pick up the phone, God's always on the other line. Hello, my son. Hello, my daughter. How can I help you? You check in with the heart. What should I say? What should I do? Please show me the most loving way to be in this situation. Please show me how to move through this situation without violating the law of one, without doing harm to anyone. And when you ask, you shall receive, right? Matthew 7:7. Ask and you will receive, seek and you will find, knock and the door will be open to you. What's the door? What's the door we knock on? Of course, it's got to be none other than the door of the heart. Only the heart knows the law, and so only the heart can be asked, can be sought after. Only the heart can give us the answers we seek. So why don't we start asking? We only have not because we ask not.